Yo, what's up? What's going on? This is Sir Foster, organ player for the Atlanta Hawks, and you tuned in to Day One Radio. Cool.
The business.
Welcome back to another episode of Day One Radio right here on ablradio.com. We're missing our comrade, Mad Fresh Daily. She's out at South by Southwest doing her thing. But, you know, you got me, Brandon LSK, and the homie Maurice Garland in the building. And, man, we've been talking about this brother on the show, getting him on the show for a minute. This is one of your fellow Fort Valleyites. I don't know, what's the mascot?
We're Wildcats.
The Wildcat. One of your fellow Wildcats. So I'm going to go ahead and kick this off, man. I'm excited about this dude.
I mean, I got gray hair, so folks know I'm old now. But you know what I'm saying. But I've known this dude for a very long time, man. It's like we were just talking about how he knows me by my former radio name. I used to have a DJ name at school. I was called Southpaw because I'm left-handed. You know what I'm saying? So it's like every once in a while, like, he still calls me that, which is cool. That's why I'm like, okay, I know this dude for real. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we got the homie Sir Foster in the building. You've seen him.
What's up, y'all?
At the NBA All-Star game, 3 years in a row now?
Yeah.
3 years in a row.
2014 was the first one, New Orleans.
Yep.
He is the in-house organist for the Atlanta Hawks.
Let's go Hawks.
And I'm pretty sure that his performances had something to do with that 60-game win season last year. They were playing very inspired basketball out there.
No doubt.
You know, I got to do my part to contribute.
Of course.
You know, and I've known the dude since he was just Foster, not Sir Foster. Everybody calls him Sir Foster now, but I've known him since just Foster.
Hey.
You know what I'm saying? And also, he's an ill musician too, man. I mean, saxophonist galore, man.
Yeah,
Did I say that right?
Yeah, I appreciate that.
All right, cool,
Thank you.
man. So thanks for coming on the show, man.
Man, thank y'all for having me.
Oh, of course,
You know, it's a
man.
real
Glad to have you in here. So, I mean, Maurice talking about everybody old, but you a fairly young dude to be an organist. Like, we know keyboardists, we know some piano players. You know,
Yeah.
we've had Terrence Martin, a couple other jazz cats in here. But how did you get started playing the organ?
So it's actually it was crazy because I started playing piano and just went from there. And you know, I've always been into like the keyboard and always different types of new technologies and stuff. And so, you know, we actually just got a new keyboard at Philips. And what
Is that the circular?
That's the circular one. That's the circular one. And so it actually is a keyboard, but I try to really put the organ sound at the forefront because we want it to feel like, you know, the traditional stadium organ.
Yeah.
And so that's what I do at the games, and it's pretty cool.
Now, you also play for UGA baseball, too, which is the sport that we know the organ
Yeah.
from. So is your flavor different when you do UGA baseball than it is when you're in Phillips Arena for the Hawks?
You know, believe it or not, it's very similar.
Really?
Yeah. Now, let me say that baseball, it moves at a completely different speed. It's a drastically different sport. And so there was an adjustment at first, but, I mean, I bring the same show. You know, I don't really modify my song list or anything like that. I bring the same show and just make sure that we fit it into the places where you can play during baseball. But yeah,
So you're telling me people that are sitting there watching UGA baseball games recognize when you play Fetty Wap?
Yes.
On the organ.
As a matter of fact, so this is a true story. The first time I ever heard Trap Queen. Trap Queen is a song that came out of nowhere and it was just a smash.
Right.
I know he had been on SoundCloud for like a long time, but like if you weren't already following him, it literally just appeared one day and it was a smash. And the first time I ever heard Trap Queen, I was at UGA baseball in the middle of the game, and like it's probably third or fourth inning, and I look at my Twitter and I have 20 requests for Trap Queen. And I'm going, what in the world is Trap Queen? So I actually had to look it up between innings and listen to it. Search the YouTube video, listen to it, and learn the song and play Trap Queen.
Wow, so you did that during the game?
Yeah.
I mean, because I was going to ask, like, how long does it take you to, like, you know, learn playing the song? I mean, granted, you know, I know music snobs feel that, you know, music is very basic out there.
Yeah.
Like, man, I can learn how to play that in 5 minutes. But, like, how are you sitting down, like, learning songs on the spot? Like, is that something that, you know, you learned from, you know, playing piano? Or is this something that just, you know, some gift that you just have? I mean, like, how does that work?
I think it's a combination of both. You know, as far as having a gift, I do have perfect pitch, so that helps tremendously. As far as the work that I've put in, you know, I've been practicing for a long time, so I know my way around the keyboard. I can kind of hear something and say, okay, I should probably go here, and I kind of have a really good starting point. And so it can take me anywhere from 2 minutes to 2 hours to learn a song.
So for people like me who are horrible at trying to play instruments, what does perfect pitch mean?
Perfect pitch means basically I can hear a note and know what note it is.
Okay.
So, you know, you can sing a note and I can tell you, okay, that's a B flat.
Gotcha. So did you? We didn't even. Are you classically trained? Do you read and write music and all of that?
So I do read and write music. I'm not classically trained.
Okay.
I basically learned how to play from the lady at church, and
Right.
I just came up through there. And
So you was the dude that all the kids. I grew up in a pretty medium-sized church, but
Yeah.
there was a lot of youngsters in the church.
Yeah.
And we would always peep when the organist or the piano player would throw a little secular riff in there during one of the songs. Was that you?
Oh yeah. Oh absolutely. Oh absolutely. Yes, that would be me.
Okay, no doubt. Shout out to the brothers that did that, the sisters
yeah.
that did
Hey, yeah,
that.
'cause I remember our organist at church, he used to throw like Too Short in there. We're like, oh man, like hold up now. I wasn't expecting to hear Too Short at church of all places today, man.
I think that's just a general black cool church thing.
Yeah,
across
I
the
was
board.
that guy.
No
Definitely
doubt.
that guy.
No doubt. So crazy thing, man. You actually got the job with the Hawks off of Craigslist.
That is correct.
You might be the first person to get a job on Craigslist and actually keep that job for more than 6 months.
Man, you know, that story sounds more unbelievable the more I tell it, but it's true. The Hawks put the ad out on Craigslist. I got it. I mean, it was literally like I was on Craigslist and something was just like, yo, you should answer that. And then, you know, you answer some questions, you had to send your resume, and something was like, you should do it right now. So I did it. And they called me back within a week, did an interview, did a preseason game, and, you know, the rest is history.
Did it actually say Atlanta Hawks are looking for organists? Did it say like that, one of those bland ones like, professional sports team seeking musicians?
No, it said Atlanta Hawks. It said Atlanta Hawks, and when you click the link, it actually took you to their website.
Wow.
So, I kind of, and really, I didn't even know what I was getting into, to be honest. I really looked at it and I said, that looks like fun. Like, I should try that. You know, I think I would like it. And it just never occurred to me what exactly, how big that was. But, yeah.
What were you doing before that period?
Okay, so I'm a musician by trade. So that's, when I first moved to Atlanta, I said I basically just wanted to practice, make beats, and be in the studio. And then I realized I had to work.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, if I have to work, all of my jobs are going to be music jobs. So at that point, I was playing at church, which I still do. I was teaching music lessons, and I was like playing in clubs. So like you could catch me like on Old National all the time.
Okay.
I'd be playing in those clubs. And then sometimes I would like travel with like a corporate band and play weddings on the weekend or whatever. So I had a lot of different jobs, but I made sure I was playing all the time.
Now, once you auditioned and got the Hawks job, I mean, like, did they hit you with a whole bunch of like restrictions off the rip? Like, look, man, you can't come in here playing this, because I mean, they went through some controversy for a minute, as far as like who they wanted at the games and who they were catering to. Like, did you get any of that? Like, look, man, this is what we're going for. This is what we expect to hear. We don't want to hear this. We don't want none of that. Like, what was the experience like when you first got in there?
Absolutely nothing. I mean, seriously, I walked in and I basically have played what I wanted to play from the get-go. Now, they had to, in the beginning, I didn't know how to actually play stadium sports music. So I had to learn that. And I think the Hawks, like when I first came in, they did a really good job of kind of training me to understand the feel of the game, because I was just used to just playing. And playing your instrument is different from playing at a game. You have to be on and off at certain times. It has to fit the game and all of that. But once I picked that up, I've never had restrictions as far as my playlist.
So did that training come from just learning how to play off of the DJ, or because it's not like you can just jump in during the get like it's 15,000 people in there.
Yeah.
So that on the job training is serious.
Yeah.
So how did you kind of figure out your style?
So as far as like figuring out the feel of the game, so when I first joined, my first 2 seasons there, they used to talk to me and they would tell me when to play. They would say, okay, Foster, give me a song here. Foster, play defense here.
Okay. So like a run of show.
Yeah. And then after a couple years, they were like, okay, You figured it out. So we'll let you go, and if we need something specific, we'll tell you. And so that's how they do it now. But that's what the training was.
Now, do they encourage, like, as an organist, like, are you always looking at the crowd like, okay, man, they need this song, they need this to happen right now? Like, is that like your kind of like how you gauge what you're going to play?
Absolutely. You know, you always look at what's happening at the game and what the mood of the crowd is. I like to let the mood of the game dictate what I play. So what I'll do is, like, you know, I'm always listening to music, and if I hear a favorite song or a new song that I like, I'll learn it. But maybe the time isn't right in the first quarter. Maybe it doesn't need to be played until the third quarter. Right. So I might have a general idea that at some point in this game I want to play this song. But if I was planning to play that song and then the other team just did a big dunk, the whole mood of the game has changed. So I would throw that away and play something else.
For those who have never been to a Hawks game, the fans are very quiet if the team isn't winning. But when they start winning and they start coming back in the game, it's standing room only.
Yes.
You would think you was at Staples or Madison Square Garden or something.
Yeah.
It gets a little insane. And I also know I don't get to many games, which is crazy because I live in the neighborhood. But every time I'm there, 2 Chainz and his little girl are there. So obviously I know you got a few 2 Chainz songs in your arsenal.
Yeah. You know, 1 or 2. I've played a lot of his. I try to play all the Atlanta artists because one of the things that I want to – and I watch a lot of sports. Excuse me. I watch a lot of sports, and I feel like the games and the makeup of the team should kind of reflect what goes on in the city, because that's how the people gravitate to it. That's how they can connect to it. Okay. And so I like to play the songs that Atlanta radio plays. Now, I will, if there are things that I just like outside of that, then I'll put those in too to put my own personal touch on it. But I definitely want to gravitate to all the Atlanta artists. So, you know, 2 Chainz, Future, T.I., you know, Luda, everybody.
I like that. So I'm gonna throw a couple players at you. So Dennis Schroeder makes a great play.
Yeah.
What comes into your mind automatically that you should play?
It depends on what type of great play.
Dennis Schroeder gets a steal, breakaway dunk in the fourth quarter. What do you play?
Schroeder ain't dunking, man. Like,
come on.
If somebody does a breakaway dunk, I might play Sports Center. I might do that.
All right, so big comeback. Teague hits a 3-pointer to tie the game.
I might play something old school Atlanta, like Nuck If You Buck or 24s.
I like that. So I like this dude. See,
yeah.
I've always said I feel like Phillips Arena is a beautiful arena. The crowds are usually cool, pretty basketball knowledgeable. I just, for some reason, it doesn't have that feel that it should, considering the city that it's in. But I think what you do, you know, what Ryan does, what Tigger does, it brings some flavor to it, man. Like we just gotta keep building on that, man. Because I definitely think that this should be like Staples was back in the day.
Yeah, but I mean, being a lifelong fan and a person that grew up here is like another thing that happens too, though, is like, you know, Atlanta over the last 10, 15 years really has always been known as like the transplant city. So it's like,
yeah,
I remember going to games, like, granted, during those canary bird jersey seasons, it was tough.
That was Steve.
So it's like,
right? Y'all won like 60 games one of them seasons.
No, I'm talking about those first Joe Johnson years.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying?
Got you.
So I would see people walking around in Piston jerseys and Kobe jerseys, and it was like, well, I mean, I kind of get it. There ain't much to root for, but damn, you know, that don't mean you got to walk in here representing the other team, though.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we still kind of weeding out those people. You know, the folks that come to the root for the other team.
Why you got to weed us out?
But, yeah, I mean, because y'all make good points, but I do want to point out one thing that I've noticed just from watching sports, period, is like, if you go to any team and almost any sports league, if you have the most popular teams in that league at that time, that team will always have fans in every arena. Now,
that's true.
New York, Chicago, LA, and Boston, maybe they'll have less fans in those arenas. But most NBA cities, most of them, if you take the Warriors, or if you take the Thunder, or if you take the Cavaliers, those teams are, or Lakers. The Lakers can be having a terrible season, but the Lakers will have the biggest fan base in sports. So those teams will have fans in every city. So in that sense, I don't feel like Atlanta is very different. And maybe we get a bad rap for that, but Atlanta fans are extremely supportive of our team. The Hawks have a great fan base, but again, if it's the Lakers and Cavaliers, those teams are gonna bring fans no matter what.
Gotcha.
So,
So when this airs, it'll be St. Patrick's Day. I'm going to the game with the good people from Crown Royal invited me. Can I put in a request?
Of course you can. Of course you can.
Y'all hear that, right? When y'all watch the game, we're going to figure it out.
Can. Yeah, and I encourage people to request things on my Twitter. Yes, please.
Oh, on Twitter, not during the game.
No, I'm gonna put in a request before you leave.
Okay.
So yeah, with this whole sports, it's funny you bring that up because I'm a lifelong Warriors fan, and I noticed that now I see more Warriors paraphernalia wherever I go. It's insane. Like, where did y'all come from?
Yeah,
to the point where when I had on a Warriors starter the other day, and somebody was like, "Oh, you just got that? Like, for real, bro?" Like, come on,
they
man.
came from the Staples Center. That's where they came from.
Right, exactly. Insane. So, man, you also play saxophone.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
So, did you start off with piano and eventually gravitate to sax, or what?
Yeah, that was basically it. I wanted to play in the band in middle school.
Okay.
Can't play piano in the band.
That's
That's basically it.
A lot of people say ain't nobody pushing the piano out there on the field.
So that's basically it. My auntie. The way I started playing saxophone, it was honestly my auntie had bought a saxophone for my cousin. He never played it, and she was like, "Well, y'all can have this." And so I opened it up, and it was shiny, and I was like, "Hey, I think I can work with it," and that was it.
Sounds like me and my dad. He used to bring instruments home. I tried for a little bit. I'm still sorry. I've been playing. So, man, how is it for you? Did you ever at any point think that you were going to be playing for a professional sports organization?
No. No.
That's God, man. That's just amazing, man.
It is. So I always wanted to grow up and be a successful entertainer, a successful musician. The way I thought I was going to make it was that I was going to just be dope my whole life, and I was going to be playing in some club, and somebody was just going to discover me. And then I was going to go to the studio, just like, "Foster, you're so great, we're just going to give you a record deal because you just look like you need one." Right. And then I was just going to go get a record deal, and I was just going to go in the studio and just magically know how to make hit songs, and I was just going to make a hit, and then I was going to be all over MTV and the radio, and I was going to be a star. And that was the way it was supposed to work.
And now MTV don't play videos no more. you know what I mean?
Yeah, they don't necessarily hand out record deals anymore. Right. So, but this way has been good. It's actually been really good for me, and this is something I definitely couldn't have seen for myself.
All right, and you did drop an album last February?
Yeah. My first album is called Future World Record Holder. And I was very proud of that. It was kind of a lifetime in the making. But yeah, I was it's a cool album. Y'all check it out on iTunes, every digital platform, and also at Moves Music here and at Hawk Shop. Y'all check it out.
Yeah, matter of fact, like I hosted the release party at Moods Music.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's like, man, Foster's like an ultimate entertainer, man. I mean, dude's like playing the saxophone with one, like hopping on one leg, like damn near doing a kid and play.
Yeah.
With the saxophone.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, these people come to see a show, and I wholeheartedly believe that they come to see a show. So I can act like I have sense tomorrow. When you come to see a show, I'm going to give you one.
There's nothing wrong with that at all. So a lot of people know you from your All-Star game appearances that are outside of Atlanta, which came about when you met some of the NBA people at a preseason game for the Atlanta Hawks in 2014. So, you know, when you came into that situation, New Orleans is obviously a music city, being that you live in the South. I'm sure you have been there a number of times. What was your mind state going into that, which is kind of like your coming out party to the NBA?
Okay, so I knew that the All-Star game was a big deal. I had wanted to do it for a while, and I felt honored that they asked me. But when I'm going into any event, one of the things that I have, the mindset that I always have, no matter what it is that I can't let the moment become bigger than me. You know, so at the end of the day, the All-Star game was a huge game. But for me, it's game day. I need to show up on time. I need to have my songs ready. I need to make sure I eat before the game. I need to, you know.
It's like you playing.
I got to play. You know what I mean? So like I can think about what's gonna happen as a result of this later. But right now, we have to get to it. We have to do it well. You know, so I need to play well, and then we need, you know, let everything take care of itself. So that was my mindset going in. And to be totally honest, I really didn't expect what did happen. Like about halfway through the game, because I had my phone on silent. And I wasn't paying attention to it. And about halfway through the game, I noticed my phone would not stop flashing. And I was like, my Twitter followers like doubled in that game. Like it was crazy. I mean, I had celebrities asking me questions during the game. Like it was ESPN writers, you know, talking to me during the game. So I really didn't expect it. So about the third quarter, I was like, oh, this is big. You know what I mean? Like, okay, this is different than I thought. And so then at that point, it was just, okay, just stay focused. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's something. Now that you've done it multiple times, like is it the same outlook, or is it you more comfortable and relaxed? Like, okay, I'm gonna go in here. I'm in Toronto. I'm gonna hit them with some Drake. You know, I mean, like,
I mean, it's a mix of both. Like, I'm definitely more comfortable. But again, I approach every game as if it's the All-Star game. You know, whether it's Tuesday night against the Bucks or whether it's the All-Star game, I'm going to approach it the same way.
I don't believe you, but I'll buy it.
I do. I only have one speed. You know what I'm saying? I only have one speed, and that's 100. So, you know, it was the same thing. It's like, okay, I'm happy to be here. This is an honor. All right, let's get to it. You know, what new song can I learn for All-Star Weekend? What, you know, it's always pushing myself to try to be better. And that's what it was.
Like, had you, like, studied other organists at other arenas? Because I mean, I've been to, you know, other games, you know, like I've been to a Grizzly game here and there, a Heat game, a Hornet game, and stuff like that. And it's like I don't remember, you know, I don't remember the organist. Like I remember defense and stuff like that, but not like just like, oh man, listen to what they're playing, look at what they're doing.
I agree 100%. Correct us if we're wrong, but I feel like you've done for organists what DJ Irie did for the DJ in NBA arenas. Like nobody, it existed, but not in this scope. Is that the case?
Well, I appreciate that, and yes, you know, I think I had, because I think I'm kind of like y'all. I had before I started working for the Hawks, I would hear the organ, and maybe I didn't necessarily pay that much attention to it. As a matter of fact, when I was 8 years old, I was watching the game with my dad. And he pointed it out to me, like, son, you hear the dude playing the organ? Like, maybe you could be that guy. And I was like, you know, I want to grow up to be Michael Jordan. I don't want to be an organ player, dude. But, you know, it's one of those things. Now that I work for the Hawks, now I do kind of key into them and listen to them so I can hear, like, maybe different prompts that they're doing, maybe different offenses and defenses. But as far as, like, outside of prompts, everything is my own style. So I really don't pay attention to a lot.
I'm wondering, like, if people have like soaked up with some of what you're doing, like, oh man, that Hawks organist, man, he's doing it. We need that, man. Hire a guy to do that for our game. You know, like, have you heard stories of that happening since you've kind of, you know, been on the scene?
Well, the closest thing that I've heard to that, the closest thing that I've heard to that is that when I went to Toronto this time to do All-Star, you know, when you're there, we met all the NBA entertainment. So like there were a couple of teams, a couple of dunking teams, all the mascots, the Q-Sticks drum team from Cleveland, you know, the all-star cheerleaders. They picked one girl from every team. And I remember meeting the guys, the people from other teams, and when I would tell them, hey, I'm Sir Foster, they were like, yo, we're a huge fan. We know everything about you. Like, they actually watch me, and they listen to me. They were like, yeah, we listen to y'all's games all the time. Like, we're trying to hear what you do. So that was huge because I didn't know they did that. Like, I didn't expect everybody to know who I was when I got there. So that was actually, it made me feel really good.
I'm surprised that, I mean, because people, I know when I brought you up, when I'd be watching a game on TV and be like, oh, that's different. Like, okay, I see, who is this dude? And I think I might have asked you, and you was like, oh yeah, we went to Fort Valley together. And from that point, I know I talked to, my people at Slam about it. I know they did something on you in 2014. And, I've seen you written up in a bunch of different places. So I'm surprised it hasn't connected to you that you are kind of like that guy in that space.
Yeah. You know what? You're right. But, I don't look at myself that way. And maybe that might be a good thing.
Yeah.
Maybe because for me, I'm always focused on the next move. And so... I guess I'm in this period of my life right now where right now I just want to create and just make art. I just want to do whatever. You know what I mean? Let's soak up the moment that we're in and just live it and just do it to the best that we can. And then 15, 20 years from now, I'll actually be able to reflect on this and be like, yo, we were doing stuff. Like, I was that dude, Mm-hmm. But for right now, I'm in that period where I just have to create and let everybody else analyze.
Like, do you get players, coming up to you after the game, like, Hawk or non-Hawk, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh man, that song that you played in the third quarter, that got me going. Like, do you get that a lot?
I do, yeah, and that feels great.
Has it ever been for the other team though? Has Carmelo ever been, bro, when you played that track queen, bro, like, I had to go ahead and reel off 20 right quick.
They've never said it that way,
okay.
But they have said, yo, you played such and such tonight. Like, that was you playing the such and such. Like, okay, one of the guys from the Warriors came up to me. Like, when I told him, hey, I'm Sir Foster, I was the organ player. He was like, yo, you played that all right tonight, the Kendrick Lamar song.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, yeah. So they're listening to me. And people will tell me, like, sometimes people will send me videos of, like, the opposing bench rocking to my music.
That's good. Lull them to sleep and let the Hawks win.
Hey, yeah,
there you go.
That's what we're trying to do.
Exactly. So for you, man, I was reading a while ago that you actually designed your album cover, right?
No.
You didn't?
So I played a role in it. Like,
okay.
I picked the girl who did design it and told her, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I like this. Hey, can you put more of that, less of this?
You diddied the situation.
I did it the situation.
Okay,
but
gotcha.
I do have to give a shout out to Sequata. Sequata has like an incredible vision, and like she told me, Foster, this is gonna look good. And she was one of those people to where like when she's describing it to you, you just have to trust that it's gonna work. And so I just let her do what she did. I came back in. I had like 1 or 2 pointers here or there, but for the most part, Sequata blew me away with her album cover design. And that is one of the things that I get the most compliments about my album on is the design of it. So I do need to give her a shout out.
Okay, shout out to Sequata.
Yeah.
What I asked you that because I know that you dabble in other areas of art that you aren't necessarily proficient in. So why is that, and what are some of the stuff you're doing now that isn't necessarily organ or saxophone or even singing, but you enjoy doing?
Well, I have always had this thing where I just enjoy visual art. Like, I just really, really love it. Now, I cannot draw at all. I mean, I went to a painting class and it was a horrible experience for me. Like, it was terrible. It's terrible. I'm not, that is not what I do. But I just love, I don't know what it is about art. It's just something about other creativity. It just makes me feel more creative. It just puts me in a good place. And so, I really love to support this city's art scene, which I think, depending on how you look at it, is either getting a lot of credit and people are saying, yo, this is really good, or it's kind of overlooked. You know what I mean? Yeah. But the art scene here is crazy. I mean, the art shows here, the talent level here is crazy. And so I love just going out and connecting with that audience.
Definitely. So for you, man, and Maurice hates when I ask people this, but for you, I'm really curious as to what are your plans as an artist, I guess, over the next 2 or 3 years? Because, I mean, you're doing your thing with the Hawks. We all know how professional sports is. It could change tomorrow. You know what I mean? So being that you do multiple things well, you enjoy creating, what do you feel is next for you? Where do you see yourself?
Well, I've always wanted to be involved in everything musically, so I would love to get into scoring. I actually worked with a producer on a film that we hope is going to be on BET soon. So I'm going to keep that under. You know what I'm saying? I want it to be out there first, but I'm hoping to get into that. I'm just going to continue to create music.
Foster gonna mess around and score 2K18 or something.
Hey, I would love to do that. I would love to do that. Y'all check out. I can tell you this. Check out my SoundCloud, SoundCloud.com/Sir Foster, because I put a lot of stuff that I'm kind of getting into. Like I've been doing some remixing pretty heavy, and you know what I'm saying. I also have there's this girl DJ Natural that I work with, and I have a saxophone DJ combo group called. I'm kind of just exploring different things right now, and really just embracing the creative part of it.
That's really cool. That'll be dope. So, man, you say you watch a lot of sports.
Yeah.
And Nadine's not here, so we can talk sports. She gets uncomfortable when we talk too much sports. So, obviously, you're a Hawks fan. Mm-hmm. We got the playoffs coming up, April 23rd, 26th,
something like that, yeah.
So, we're not too far from the playoffs. The Hawks have been playing well as of late, few key wins. What do you see happening for this team in the playoffs? They look like a sleeper to you?
Well, I like the fact that we are peaking at the end of the season. Yeah. I think people were concerned because last year we went on this epic 22-game winning streak.
Yeah.
I think we lost the game after Christmas that year, and then right after that game, we started a franchise record 22-game winning streak,
undefeated in January.
It was crazy.
I remember that.
And I think last year we peaked in the middle of the season.
Way too early.
So by the end of the season, we started to have some injuries, things caught up to us, and that hurt us eventually playing against the Cleveland Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference Finals. And so this year we didn't come out with a 22-game winning streak, and I think people were concerned. But every season is different. We've had injuries. Kyle Korver was coming back from an injury. It takes time to return to form. We had trades. There were different faces. We had to work people into the rotation. We lost people. So we're coming into form now at the end of the season, which for me feels better. What I would like to see us do is work ourselves at least into that 3 spot. Because in the playoff, once you're out of the top 4, it changes your playoff life because you don't have any series where you have home court advantage.
Right.
So we have a good home crowd. We have a good home court advantage. And if we can get that 3 spot, I think we can do some things and really help ourselves.
Yeah, you 1.5 games out. I think y'all play the Celtics 1 or 2 more times.
Yeah.
Again, so that could definitely be possible. I would like to see the team play Tim Hardaway Jr. more. I would like to see more athleticism on the floor at more times. Like, I like when Teague and Schroeder get on the floor together. I think that makes a huge difference. But, I'm not a Hawks fan. I'm curious to know, what do you think, Mari?
I just want to see the ball move more. I think we got away from the ball moving the way it did last year. That was the key to the offense running. I don't see, nearly as much isolation as those Joe Johnson years, but still, I still see a lot of dribbling out there. Yeah. A lot of just, shooting for no reason, which should not be done, being that, we do get killed on the boards occasionally.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We'll find a way to win, but we get killed on the boards, so that means, okay, we don't need to be shooting as much. So I want to see the ball move more. I think if we get that ball moving like it was last season, or even at the last 2 seasons, I think we're going to be okay.
Yeah, and I think, this part of the winning streak that we've had, or, I think we've won 6 of our last 7 or 5 of our last 6, something of that nature. But I think part of it has been that ball movement has come back. Our defensive rotations are back. Players, Tim Hardaway Jr. is playing more. You know what I'm saying? He slowly but surely, I think the first half of the season maybe he had to, work on whatever, but he is starting to really crack that rotation and get quality minutes. Chris Humphries has helped us.
Oh, dude, that was a great pickup.
Chris Humphries was a sneaky great pickup.
Yeah.
And it addresses a thing that we needed, which was size. So, I'm really looking forward to it. Like I said, things are rounding into place at the end of the season, and I like our chances.
Definitely. You get to watch way more basketball than most of us do. So what are the other teams that you're kind of looking at? Because, we're in that period where it's just basketball right now. You know what I mean? So what are other teams that you're watching that you're kind of impressed with?
So there are a few. I think they're a year or two away, but I want people to pay attention to the Milwaukee Bucks.
You know what? I thought they were going to do something this year.
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever, but like I thought they were going to do something this year.
If you peep it, when Kidd switched up the lineup and started OJ Mayo before he got hurt and was letting the Greek Freak run point or at least be point forward a little bit, dude, they reeled off a few wins in a row. Like, it was just lineup shot. I really just think Michael Carter Williams might just be sorry. Like, at this point, like, it's unfortunate to say that, because if you can't learn how to play point guard under Jason Kidd, you just might not be able to learn. But you know, they're not listening for our analysis.
But I think Milwaukee. I mean, I don't know what happened this year, like y'all said, but they took a long-term approach to me in allowing the Greek Freak to play all 5 positions. That's going to play huge dividends. Everybody on their starting lineup is 6'8". I didn't realize Jabari Parker is that huge.
Yep.
Dude is big, man.
He's big and he has size. So watch out for them. Watch out for the Timberwolves. Karl Anthony Towns is a great player. He's a young player, but he's a great player. Andrew Wiggins is a really, really, really solid player. Watch out for them. I would always keep an eye on the Pistons because of Stan Van Gundy and what's my big man? Andre Drummond.
Yeah.
I would keep an eye on them. And other than that, I mean, you know, it's the normal teams that jump off the page at you. You know, the Thunder, the Clippers, the Warriors, the Spurs, of course. You know, I don't have to tell you that. But I'm talking about teams that you may not see right now, but I feel like I see something developing. I would pay attention to those teams.
Those league pass teams.
Yeah. Just keep an eye. The Milwaukee Bucks are like, I just think you don't have but a couple more years. I mean, the Thunder had a couple of losing seasons before they started winning 60 games.
That's very true.
I think the Milwaukee Bucks, I think they have the pieces, the athleticism to do that.
And the mock draft, if they don't make the playoffs, the mock drafts have them picking up Ivan Rabb, which would just be unfair. I'm like, how many 6'11", 7 feet dudes y'all gonna have?
And you know what else? Let me throw another team in there. Lakers have talent. What's my man, D'Angelo Russell, has been playing well. Now, there are a lot of moving pieces there. I don't know how the ownership is. I don't know about the front office and all of that. I don't know if the coach doesn't jive with young players. I don't know any of that stuff. Right. I just know that lately D'Angelo Russell has looked pretty good.
Randall has looked pretty good as well.
Has looked pretty good.
My only beef with Russell is the dude's not tough. Like, when that dude sat out a game because his stomach was hurting, I was like, I'm kind of done with you, bro. Like, come on, man. Like, this is professional
I think
sports.
that might be a psychological thing, too, though, man. Because, I mean, if you go to work every day and you got a boss, i.e. Coach Byron Scott, grilling you all the time, sometimes for nothing, yeah, my stomach gonna hurt sometime. You know,
fam, you talking about a job. This is something he's been working his entire life for, and he got there, and he's playing for the Lakers. He ain't playing in New Orleans or playing in that glorified high school arena in Charlotte. Like, he's playing for the Los Angeles Lakers, bruh. Like, Byron Scott, he's gonna be there. Byron Scott ain't gonna be there as long as he's gonna be there. So it's one of them things where you just kind of, he ain't got the carte blanche to get a coach fired, but he know his job security is a little bit better there than Byron Scott's is. But I don't know. I think Russell and Randall are legit. That the Euro guy, the point guard they got coming off the bench, he's raw. Yeah. Like he came out of nowhere to me. But I can see. I mean, I have this theory that teams that are historically good don't stay bad for long.
Yeah.
They find a way to win no matter what. And we see that now with the Celtics. Yep. You know, we see that with the Pistons. Like, teams, they're going to come back at some point.
Yep, you're right. I totally agree with that.
For sure, man. We appreciate you following through, man. Before we go, man, in case we didn't make it clear, you know what I'm saying, the homie Foster, we know each other through Fort Valley State University, man, so we got to shout them out again, man.
Go Wildcats.
Like, because we don't get a lot of, HBCU, goers, in here, so everybody comes from different walks of life.
We don't have a lot of Clarkites, brother. We represent out here. Like Atlanta out here in these streets.
Hey, I just know when I was in school, my football team used to beat yours. That's all.
That is very true.
That's all I know.
And they're not in small company. A lot of things. We scholars, what I mean?
Yeah,
and the basketball team is pretty good from now and again. Also, before we go, we got to shout out, man, our compadres, Digital Good Times, who are on the cover of Creative Loafing this week. So make sure y'all pick that up. Shout out to Small Eyes and the rest of the crew. Yeah, that's
and
really
let me shout
big,
out
man.
Gavin Godfrey.
Yes.
Good dude, man. Shout out to Gavin.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate that. Creative Loafing always holding ABL down. For sure, man. We appreciate it, man. And I'm gonna try to sneak up and see you on Thursday. I'm gonna be in one of those suites with the Crown Royal people. So
Do it.
I'm gonna come holler at you, man.
Of course, man.
Y'all been listening to Day One Radio. Shout out to Nadine. Have fun at South by Southwest. And we'll see y'all next week.
Hey, real quick. Y'all follow me on Instagram at Sir Foster.
Yes.
Twitter, Sir_Foster, and SoundCloud /Sir Foster. I'm putting up new stuff all the time, so it's been a pleasure. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
What's up, y'all? This is Maurice Garland, Brandon LSK. Please tell these people where they can find us at online.
You can find all the archives of all the old episodes on day1radio.com. That's DAY, the number 1 radio.com.